Look a lot better than me.
My haircut, that's why I was running just a tad late. It's all the way out in Joliet.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I've known him for, 14, 15 years now.
Oh, I thought maybe that's where they allow haircuts now.
Nah, I just got loyalty.
Awesome, man. All right, so welcome everybody to another episode of Face the Truth. I'm really excited to do this one. As a lot of you guys know, I'm into comedy as well as my art, and even though I'm a newbie at it, I love it. And maybe 5 months or so into my adventure into comedy, I started going to this place called My Buddies, and my friend here is basically runs it. He's like the host of the whole thing, and it's hilarious. It's one of the best open mics I've ever been to. Because it actually challenged me anyways. It was a little bit of a harder room, but when you get the laugh, it's worth it. It makes you want to come back and try a little harder, rework the material, and they let you know real quick if it's not funny. So I really love the place. A lot of great comics. So it's a really great place to check out if you come to Chicago. But anyways, my guest is a hilarious guy. And an all-around good guy, Mr. Positive himself. So I want to welcome everybody to my friend Dario Durham. Yeah, it's really awesome to finally get to talk. I mean, it's been sort of a strange time. Yeah, very strange, very surreal few months. And yeah, like I said, I'm very new at the comedy thing. I got thrown into it, and I think I briefly explained to you what happened to me, but my comedy story is way different than a lot of people's, I think. Where because of this podcast, I had a pretty big comedian on my podcast. Yeah. And I talk about comedy all the time. I've always wanted to do it. I write stuff all the time. Yeah. And it was Steve Byrne. Yeah. And he said, hey, I want you to open up for me in December at the Chicago Improv in Schaumburg. Wow. Yeah, so my first show ever was at the Chicago Improv in front of Steve Byrne. And man, it was awesome. And the best part is I didn't bomb. That's a good thing, man. Yeah. But I worked 6 months on 5 minutes of material just over and over and over again. Only did like 3 mics before for practice. Yeah. Because that's about as much time as I had before I felt ready to go to open mics. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, there I was at the Chicago Improv in front of a real audience, a real stage. It was terrifying, but I didn't eat a bag of dicks, so I feel good about it. Yeah. And then he invited me to come back the next couple nights. So I did that. And then from there, I just started going to open mics every week, trying to go 1, 2, 3 times a week. Yeah. And then all this shit happened. I was feeling good about it. I was feeling like I'm getting material. And so anyways, it was awesome. I felt like just before all this happened, I met you. I started meeting comics. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get the feeling of how this works. You know, we got to build friendships and hang out and support each other and do comedy, man. You know. So anyways, thank you for being on this. I wanted to do it in person, but we can do it again some other time. But
yeah, I'm definitely down, man. Thank you for having me.
For sure, man. So how you been throughout all this crap?
Man, you know what? I've been great, man. I've been doing really well. Mentally, I've been doing well. That's probably the most important thing. Hanging with friends, keeping up with family. And of course, the art and the craft hasn't stopped. So they've been blowing up, been booming for us. So, I can't complain. I use this time as a time to kind of learn and kind of get better at everything I do and focus on, the brand, Be Positive brand. So this has been, honestly, for me, it's been a break I didn't know I needed, but I'm glad that I had it.
Yeah, well, that's good, man. Yeah. I mean, how's it been it's weird for the comedy thing because I've been asked a couple times if I wanted to be a part of some of the Zoom things, and I said no, just because, I feel so fresh. Like I still have the umbilical cord on right now, and like, I've got some material I feel good about, but I need that crowd. I need that feedback. I need even the awkward groans. You know what I mean? Yeah. I need those. Oh shit. I want that. but the Zoom thing just seems weird to me. So how has that been for you doing that? I mean, is it?
Yeah. I absolutely love the Zooms. I love all the virtual shows. You get a sense of kind of a real crowd. The big difference is the crowd is a computer screen full of people that are also other comics oftentimes. So it's almost harder. It's not almost. It is definitely harder to kind of achieve what you want to achieve. But if you can manage and navigate the waters, it really will pay off for you. So I've been a big fan of it. I run the 2 shows on Monday and Tuesdays. They're both mics, but we get about 15, 20 people on Monday, and then about 10 people on Tuesdays, which is all women. So it's been really good. And for me, I've met a lot of people overseas now and around the country. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, there's this kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, but anything, but it's international. You kind of become an international comedian through these virtual mics. So and so build some really good relationships in UK, South Africa. So it's really cool to kind of. I like the Zoom mic. So
well, it's cool that you're keeping relevant and you're going with the flow of things and evolving with it. I mean, we sort of have to. Yeah. I don't know if you watch Saturday Night Live or anything like that, but I thought it was pretty cool actually how they ended their season this year, doing like Zoom versions of it. It's like you see these comics alone in their apartments having to be creative and come up with things, and it was actually pretty friggin' funny because it's like you start to see how insane they actually are too.
Oh yeah. Realism with who they are. Like so.
Yeah. It's funny. Oh man, I'm not sure if I think you follow me on Instagram, so I'm sure we just had a baby, but thank you. But I was like, before this quarantine thing happened, I was kind of, it was like a countdown, like how long is it going to be that my wife's going to let me go out 2 nights a week, maybe 3 nights if I'm lucky. It depends, because she usually puts the kids to bed around like 8 or 9, and that's like when things start happening. So if I can like be like, hey, I'm just going to go to do a spot or 2 and then come back. Because this is just because it's a passion. It's not like it's something that has to happen, but I want it to happen.
Right.
But now that we've had the baby and all this stuff is, everything got just everything stopped basically. Now I'm like, okay, you said like Buddies is opening this week or next week or something.
July 15th.
Oh, okay. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. I mean, I of course really want to go and start jumping back. I've been working on some stuff, but I don't think I'm ready yet. But because it's all so fresh, it's all fresh. I want to go back with fresh stuff because of all the things going on. I got all the stuff in my head. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm to be honest, I'm a little concerned how things are going to go, and I almost feel like I'm going to like just sit back a little bit and watch, just because we've got a new baby, and I don't want to go out and catch some shit and bring it back. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's definitely being a producer, and I don't know, but I think being one of the first restaurants to open up and allow comedy indoors, kind of in a fashion we used to. I know all eyes are on us and kind of how we navigate this type of thing. And honestly, if you had talked to me about a month and a half ago, I was a big no. We just wait this thing out, and we'll kind of see how things turn out. And it wasn't until about 3 weeks ago when I kind of sat and I saw the plan that Brian and my buddies had, and it was a really, really, really good plan. It felt really good. To kind of see the safety precautions and measures that they were taking to make sure that we can bring this thing back right. And at that point is when I kind of said, okay, now this is something that maybe we can do. And then this past, God, I can't even, this week has been so long already. I think it was Monday or Tuesday, I went to my buddies and we set up the bar as if it was comedy night, which we haven't done in 3.5 months. So man. I was just happy just to see.
Did you have to change your pants?
Yeah, man, I had to. It was just like a moment for me. But when I saw everything and saw all the work that he put into the bar to kind of make it safe, and his passion behind making sure we abide by the rules, it really, really made me so excited for July 15th. And make me feel comfortable about bringing it back we got some great things that's happening, and safety measures for people where it's almost, I say this very, very sparingly. I don't want to offend anybody, but it does feel almost safer to be inside of my buddies than it does outside of my buddies. That's how comfortable I feel about this. So
that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I just want people to come and look at it. If you don't want to perform, that's fine. Just see, even if it's pictures. I'll make sure I post a lot of pictures and people. No,
man, I'm itching for it, man. It's just crazy because this. You know, it's funny when all this stuff started happening. I mean, I was so excited because I've only gotten to perform in front of maybe at the Chicago Improv in front of what I call real people.
Yeah.
Not that comics aren't real people, but it's a way bigger difference performing in front of comics than it is real people. Like, and that experience of performing in front of people where, you know, you want to see how it lands with them.
Yeah.
It's amazing to get a room full of comics to laugh. Like that's a really good feeling.
That's a challenge, man.
Yeah. But I was so excited about St. Patty's Day because I was going to go to Harrigan's, and they, you know, I was told, hey, man, there's going to be a lot of drunk idiots there. It's going to be packed. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I'll bring out all my stupid pussy jokes. And I was like, this is going to be fun. And I was so excited to be able to do that. And then, of course, everything just started shutting down like really quick. And then I told myself, all right, I want to keep writing and keep working on things and keep developing, but I can't perform. So how am I going to, know if it's even working. Right.
Yeah.
So, but I made a promise to myself at the beginning, like I'm not going to do Corona joke shit. Like everyone's just going to be talking Corona.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But do you find like I try to stay away from it, but at the same time, all these things are happening that I feel need to be addressed, like really dumb things are happening. And people are crazy. We got these crazy fucking Karens everywhere. Yeah. Like that. Like what's that? We got to talk about that, yeah. Right? And I keep. I don't want to keep rambling about this, but just to give you an idea, like I can't stop thinking about these things, and I'm wondering, is that what it's going to be like? Are we going to have? Is it going to be like a big like Corona diarrhea comedy fest for like the first couple months where everyone's just getting all this shit out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is that what comedy's going to be for a while?
Truly believe that it probably will for the first month. I think people just got to get out of the system. And honestly, what it will be, and this is just coming from the experience that I've, running the Zoom mics. I feel like it will be the folks that really didn't do the Zoom mics that will be kind of screwed out. Because there's some incredible jokes from the people that have been on Zoom. I know for me, I think I always start a year out and I have a notepad labeled, the year and then jokes. So 2020 jokes. And I always start fresh and I say, here's the stuff that some thoughts that I have, and I'm going to work on them as the year goes. And that list was pretty long at the start of the year, right up until quarantine. And that list is now doubled now with quarantine. So I've come up with so many new jokes. And it's so weird. You're right. It's so weird with the Zoom mics because you want to stay away from the coronavirus, but at the same time, you want to see how you can hone your craft. And oftentimes you're doing it. For me, I've been doing new jokes on the show and just we'll see. We'll see what I get because you don't get a lot of opportunity to kind of test out things, and you're kind of limited if you kind of if you want to get new stuff out. So. I think we will see an influx probably the first month of a lot of coronavirus
It'll
shows.
Be interesting, I think,
Some of them
Well, I mean, the funniest jokes come from the truth, right? I mean, and we're all experiencing, that's the one thing about this is we're all going through this together. We're all experiencing things. And I think, one good thing that has come from all this entire experience is we've all had, because of all the free time we've had, all this extra time on the internet, thank you, Facebook and Twitter. We all know which one of our friends are fucking nuts now. Like, like before I thought Jimmy was pretty cool, but Jimmy crazy. He's crazy now. So like, there's these things that, you can't not bring up because, it's almost like the elephant in the room. It has to be addressed.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I was at this grocery store the other day, and this is totally serious. This is not a joke, although I might try to work it into something at some point. But I was looking for dinner for my kids, and they wanted me to get them a pizza. So I'm in the pizza aisle, and there's this short little lady next to me, and I hear her going, oh, and then she goes, I don't see any fucking sausage pizza.
Oh God.
And then she goes, where's the sausage pizza? And she doesn't look at me once, not even once. Doesn't even. And I'm like, is she talking to me? And so I just open the door and I grab a sausage pizza and I hand it to her. I go, here you go. And she holds it up and she goes, yes. And then she goes, fucking Mexicans.
What? What? Oh my God. People are crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
People are crazy.
It's like, what's happening?
We have lost our complete mind as a country. Like we are just. This is like the most bizarre time for anybody like to be alive here in America. Like it's almost to the point where it's so far to the right that it's so far gone that it doesn't even feel real. Like you can't even make this stuff up in a story. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was so confused. I'm like, what just happened here? What the? Yeah. What? I went home and I told my wife and kids, and they're all like dying laughing. I'm like, people have lost their minds, man. Like, it's crazy. It's so crazy.
You know, I think it's just, you know, and here's the crazy part. We're going into the summertime. You know, summertime here, the heat makes people even crazier. So I think this year just was like a snowball. And it's just keep on snowballing, just kept snowballing, and it's going to keep snowballing until we find some way to put a brick wall up and stop that snowball. So,
dude.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, I think though, like, you know, with this podcast, the whole reason I'm doing this is because I want to celebrate art, and comedy is one of those art forms that I think. In some way is kind of overlooked and overpassed. Yeah. People don't really understand or respect maybe what actually goes into it. And, you know, just and how exhausting for me personally, mentally, it can be. And once I started really dipping my toe into it, I started finding that I can't turn it off. Yeah. Where every single thing now is, oh my gosh, that's a bit, that's an idea, or this is, you know. And when this kind of a thing is going on, there's so much that's happened, all terrible, but like all terrible. Like there hasn't been anything good, except maybe we shot a rocket into space, you know. But nobody even remembers that. No. You know, no one gives a fuck. It's like the first privately owned company sent a rocket to space, and nobody cares. It was the wrong time. And the U.S. government admitted that UFOs are real. Nobody cares about that. It's they're trying to distract us, but we're not fooled. We're not. Even. It is shitty right now. But I'm wondering for you, like, you know, what is your process in this? Like when you think of ideas, are you one of those guys that just writes everything down, or do you just kind of you write it all down? So what I do is I have the note pad, the note. Actually, everything goes into my phone as an idea, and what I do with that is I kind of put keywords down, something so I can remember, and I come back to it. And what I'll do is almost to the point of obsession over the joke for maybe a good 2 hours or so, and I'm just sitting there thinking, all right, how can I relate this? What's something in my life that I can tie it to? Because how I've always made my jokes, I always say this, it's got to be something for me to tell a joke. It's got to be something that I saw. It's got to be something that I have physically touched, or something that has happened to me, so that I can have my personal authenticity in that joke. Yeah. So when I tell it, I'm not stumbling over words, because all I'm saying is something that happened to me. I'm just telling a story. So I always take an idea and say, all right, what happened to me? What moment in my life happened to me where I can use this material? And then I work it over in my head. Oftentimes I'll talk to my girlfriend and be like, hey, tell me if this is funny. Because if she laughs, I don't care what anybody says. If you can get your partner to laugh,
that's the ultimate win. Like,
Oh man,
the joke is ready because my partners got to deal with your bullshit on a regular basis. So
yeah.
they probably get sick of you talking shit anyway. So
Yeah.
then so always running by her, and then what I'll do, which is kind of crazy, because I don't do a lot of mics because I run a lot of shows. Slight humble brag, but I don't do a lot of open mics. So what I'll do during my open mic that you've been at is I'll test like one part of the joke during just random riffing, so that people don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm testing out part of that joke to see, is this funny at that moment? And if I get that one piece funny, okay, now let me try another piece. And then when it's showtime, that's when I put all the pieces, because I tested them out together, and we kind of run with there. And from there, that's when I start to, okay, let's mold this joke now. And now that I got all the pieces there, so it's a crazy process for me. But I'm like you, I love the art behind it, because it truly is an art. It's not something you just pick up and say, hey, I'm going to do this. You got to really, with anything, if you care about it, you're going to make sure it's good when it comes out. So
yeah,
I'm very passionate about every joke that I tell.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the one thing that drew me to going back to Buddies was I was sort of experimenting and trying different places, and it was interesting because there was a different feeling right away. I didn't know that what was going on the first time I went, because there was all these comics that were going up that were, more like regular comics, but I didn't know that. And I'm like, damn, these open micers are fucking good. Yeah. And I started getting really intimidated and like, what am I doing? Because I never felt intimidated before. Yeah. I always did okay. Yeah. But I always had it in my mind that, hey, I'm just working the shit out. Like, I don't care if something I say doesn't quite land right. It's just, I'm just trying it out, see if it works. If it doesn't work, I'll fix it or do whatever. Yeah. But I'm watching these guys and they're all like killing it. I'm like, what the heck kind of open mic is this? Yeah. And then I realized that that's like an early show, and then the open mic starts, and I'm like, oh, because then the first guy's like, oh yeah, that guy's definitely an open micer. Yeah.
You know what? Our open mic, and it's funny that you say that. And there are some nights with the open mic that I feel like, and I know this for a fact, that the open micers come in with the mentality of, all right, we're about to kill the people that were just on the show. Because you've been there. We don't have a break. It just literally goes from show to open mic. Yeah. So I think we will change the host up to kind of get the different feel of it, and it kind of goes a little bit more rapidly. But there's some nights that open mic has been so fire where I'm like, this is just one long showcase. So
yeah. So no, like that's what I'm saying is like the next night I went, the following week, I felt more comfortable. Yeah. And I mean, it was funny. The first night I went, that was the first time that I really felt nervous. Yeah. Because I was kind of caught off guard a little bit. Yeah. And I remember I totally flubbed one of my jokes. I said something backwards. I'm like, God, that totally messed that up. And then, but what was cool is it was good that happened, because it made me realize, okay, just chill out, dude. Have fun with it. Have fun. So the next time I went, I had way more fun. I got way more laughs. But you're right. The kind of comics that are staying there afterwards, they're giving it. Yeah. They're putting everything into it. Yeah. And that's why I really like it, because it's like, that's like, I'm the kind of person that if I do something, I want to be the best that I can be at it. Like, I don't want to just half-ass it. Like, why would I do it if I don't want to be good at it? Yeah. And I felt like I got that when I went there. That's why I like that place.
Man, I absolutely love the energy that room has kind of grown to now. And because you're right, it tells you all the truth that you need to know. If you get a laugh in that room, that's a genuine laugh. If you get crickets, you just got work to do. But it is a forgiving room, because you can come back, like you said, the very next week, and it's a whole different story. Now you are like, you're killing it. You're just the king of the world. So I love the room. I love how it is. Yeah. Yeah,
I went back the next morning. I woke up and I started rewriting shit. Like, okay, and I start working on it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna I'm not like a lot of the open micers or comics that get to go out 4 or 5 times a week. Like I only have 1 or 2 nights, so I want to make it count.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to build up like solid 4 or 5 minute blocks where I have got like an opening and the middle and then an ending. And so I'm just testing these things. And so it's almost like going to my buddies almost feels like a school for me in a little bit, because like, all right, I did okay, but now I got to do my homework now. No, I'm going to be here next Monday, but I got to work on this during the week.
Yeah.
But then what I started doing was, all right, I'm going to go to this place on Wednesday night and test this new stuff out. Oh, that was pretty good. I got some good laughs, but I changed these things. So next week when I go back on Monday, I'll have, you know what I mean? Like that's what I was doing basically.
Yeah. And that's how you should do it. But honestly, even though I'm there every week, it's the same thing with me as a host, because when I first started taking over, we didn't have the following that we had. And I was still, I think at that point when I took over, I was just over a year in the game, like literally probably like 14, 15 months into my comedy career. So that's relatively new to kind of be taking over a show that's already established, and something I didn't even want to do. I didn't even want to be a host. So I had to learn. I had to learn, my role as a host. And I'll never forget one of these moments. This is one of the moments that stick out to me forever. Is I had one of the comics that come there and were talking to me on the side and say, hey, people don't come to my buddies just because it's my buddies. People come because they want to see you riff. They want to, when you get up there, they don't want to see you do comedy. They want to see you riff and kind of keep that energy that it is. Mm-hmm. So I learned once I heard that, because you can easily take feedback like that and be like, well, I want to do comedy. I'm a comedian, But I took it as, okay, I know my role as a host, and if that's the atmosphere that I want the room to have, I got to listen to what the people are telling me. So for no matter who it is, you, me, any of the comics, I always say just listen to what that room tells you. That feedback that room can give you is literally going to help you out, because it helped me out as a host. Tremendously once I realized, okay, that's my role.
And you bring a lot of energy that I really like, because like right away I'm like, oh, this feels, I think I told you this the first night. Only a handful of us stayed till the very end, and we all had shots together. And I told you, like, this is the first open mic I've gone to where it feels like a comedy club. Yeah. Where I feel like I'm like actually a part of a comedy group now, where I like, you know what I mean? And everyone would bust each other's balls, but in a good way. And I like that as well, And so I just, it's one of those things like, and again, the reason I want to talk to you about this kind of stuff is the art of it again, is that, there's so much that goes into, it's not just, first of all, you got to have a lot of balls, I think, just to be able to get up there and say stuff that you think is funny. Yeah. Because, it's not just like, oh, I think this thing's funny, but how do I write it in a way where, like, one of my favorite approaches to and again, I'm so new at this, but one of my favorite things is I really love to mislead. I love that. Yes. It's one of my favorite things. I kind of have a dry, dark sense of humor. I think my first night at my buddy's, I had an AIDS baby joke, and people were like, oh shit. I still think it's funny. Yeah. I think you guys just need to catch up a little bit, and I'll keep working on it. But like I dropped that. I remember I dropped it and people were just like, oh, and I'm like, that shit was funny. What are you talking about? You missed the point. I was in my head. I'm like, you guys missed the point. You didn't get it. Went your own. But the what goes into the writing, the process of, a setup, and then the punch and how you're going to deliver it, and how you're going to not only say the words, but how you're going to move with the words and pause at the right places, and how to feed to wait for those laughs and to work with those laughs and then take it to the next thing. In a way, it almost feels like an orchestra, like I'm controlling the audience, like laugh here. You're going to laugh here. Yep. You haven't laughed yet, but I'll get you. It's like that's the thing about it. I think that makes me feel excited about it, where like that's where the art comes in, I think,
It definitely does. I like how you use orchestra, because you really are an orchestrator up there when you're doing it. Yeah. And a lot of times it's going into the unknown until that joke is worked over, where okay, I know this word is going to get the people to laugh. This is going to get the people to laugh. Yeah. And even then, you are still kind of navigating your way through the unknown, because night to night can be so different. You know, one time laugh at one joke, the same joke the next day won't even get a laugh. So, you know, and you have to kind of how you weave and say, like you said, you know, point over here. All right, now that's going to go. That's going to go. And here's the challenge. You didn't laugh, but yeah, I got you. So, you know, it's like it's like a dance, you know, almost where that you do, you know, no matter how much time you're up there, you know, it's a dance that you're doing in an art form to kind of move from joke to joke, and those pauses matter. I tell everybody I talk to about, you know, like when they come to me for feedback or anything, I say, hey, your joke is good, but wait for that laugh. Get that laugh. Let them laugh it out. Don't talk over them, you know, because
yeah.
Once you get them to laugh, let them laugh, and kind of like pause for a second and go right back into the next, because at that point they're already on your side. You just gotta work with it, you know. So, oh man, it's an art. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh yeah. and it's so dimensional, you know. It's not just, hey, I'm telling jokes. It's like, man, no, listen, I'm thinking about some real serious things that are important to me, and I'm finding humor in it, and I've got a message in a way, you know. I'm not just, you know, I'm not it's hard to I mean, you understand, but like, you know, there's it's not just, oh, there's Jace telling stupid jokes. It's like, no, they're not just stupid jokes. Like, this means something to me.
Yeah,
like,
it's insight to who you are, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, and I also, I like how you say it's the art part of it it's dimensional. It's 4D, because and I say with 4D, a lot of times, you know, I love when my joke can hit somebody and they come up to me like, man, that was me. You know, like, because now you just reached that person on a completely different level. You know, it was more than just a laugh. It was a personal thing, and you didn't even know them. So for me, man, it is. I love comedy to death, dude. This is like life for me.
How did you get started into comedy? Like, how did you? Because I know you're like 35, right?
I'll be 35 now for another 10 hours. So.
Oh wow! Happy birthday, man. Yeah. That's awesome. My wife, you're the same age as my wife. She's gonna turn 36 on the 20th. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get started into this? Like, what drove you towards this? Were you always, you know? So
I've always had.
You're funny, but were you always funny?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've always had like the, you know, like the regular family funny guy in a group of people funny. I've always been that type of person, kind of, you know, just funny. I'd be at a party, I'd laugh and joke, I'd get you a laugh, you know. It wasn't until I kind of got urged by a lot of people, hey, you should try this. You should just try this. And I have a buddy named Nick Norman, who's a comedian friend of mine. I know him for 20 years now. He was a comedian well before me. He said, you should do this, man. You should try this. And I was like, nah, I don't know if I want to do that. You know, I think I'm happy with my life the way it is. But honestly, I had like a little mental breakdown where, you know, I was tired of like the regular rhythm of my day, which was wake up, go to work, come back home to the kid, and then go to sleep, and then wake up and do it all over again. So, you know, I just had a point where I just said, let me just sign up, and I signed up for Second City's Improv, and I did that, and the rest is history. A year after that is when I started comedy. So since 2016, I've been in started stand-up. Since 2016, I've been in comedy as a whole. 2017 with stand-up. So you kind of, I reached my breaking point and just said, let's just try it out. And here we are, you know.
That's so cool, because I mean, I totally relate to that. I'm a little older than you. I don't know if you know that or not, but I'm 42, and I've been super passionate. My whole passion has been my art, my illustration, and that's how I take care of my family. That's my livelihood. I started this podcast because of my passion for talking with artists and you know, wanting to get it out there and everything. But I can't stop with the comedy. It's something that's been a part of my life, my whole life. Like, I've always been the kid in youth group that said shit you're not supposed to say. You know, and I'm you know, even the weird things like during sex, something funny pops in my mind. I got to say it. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things though, like, where it was like what you're saying is it's always kind of been there. And then it's like, you know, then I had those voices like, man, you're 40, you know, you're 41, or when I was first thinking about this. And it's like, you're too old to do this. Like it's in the past, it's the young person's game or whatever. But it's like, no, it's not, man. First of all, young people don't know shit.
No.
So I got that going for me. I've been through a lot of stuff. All we got to do is talk about things, right? You just got to talk, and just so. I'm so happy and thankful that Steve Byrne, first of all, I still can't believe he did what he did. It's really crazy,
man.
But it's like I wasn't gonna turn that down. And everyone thought it was crazy. Like all of my entire family, they're like, "You're gonna do what?"
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things that I'm really glad that I took because it was a pretty big leap.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that now I feel so happy and glad that I did, because even if I don't ever do it again, which that's not going to happen, I feel like at least I did it, because it's one of those things that I've wanted to do, and so it's so cool to hear that like you were sort of in the same thing. I mean, that you got nudged into it a little bit, and that's awesome. And you got addicted real quick.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I went into it thinking I knew everything. I thought I knew what I knew, and I was like, that's where I was gonna stay at. But till you do something that gets you completely on a different level than what you have known, it's something about it that just feels really good, and it just felt like natural and organic for me. And like I said, from the moment that I stepped on the stage, I knew I was like, well, this is it now. Like, 'cause I like the feeling of everything that's going on right now. So, And man, I'm telling you, it's been since I've been doing comedy, this has been some of the best 4 years that I could ever imagine.
Yeah, it's the craziest feeling, man. Like, it's funny when I did the thing at the Chicago Improv, I was so green. I had no idea what was happening. I show up. Steve was terrible at communicating to me. And up to a week before, I'm like, is this really happening? Like, because I've been working for like 6 months on this.
Yeah.
And like a day before, he's like, yeah, just show up and Kilgallen, what's his name?
Gallen.
I'm blank. What?
Joe Kilgallen.
Joe, yeah. Joe, he was hosting the show.
Oh, wow.
And so I show up and he's there and he's like, hey, who are you? Are you a comic tonight? And I go, well, sort of. and so I explain, I'm like, yeah, this is the first. And he's like, what? And it was even funny because he said that he's going to do like 10 minutes and then he's going to bring me out. And I was like, just don't let him know that this is. And he's like, oh, don't worry. I'll make you sound like you've been doing this for a long time. And he did. He's like, and it was so funny. But Steve showed up just before I went out. And I didn't even know, like the guy from the club came in and he's like, so when you want your light and all that kind of stuff. I didn't know what that meant.
You know what that meant? Yeah.
I had no idea what that meant. And I go, what are you talking about? He's like, well, and I had to explain to the owner that this is and he's like, whoa. He's like, we never let anybody ever do this. He's like, Steve must really like you or something. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, come over here. Let me show you this. And then he basically explained everything. And he goes, when he left, he goes, good luck, And I was, all of a sudden I was like feeling like, oh man, I'm not feeling good right now. It was like, whew. And I just kept, but you know what? I've been working on it, and I've been every time I take my dog out, I say, go through my material. I just go through my material, and I just went and did it. And the coolest thing about it was within the first 10 seconds, I got my laugh where I wanted it, and then all of a sudden I was just good. Once I got that first laugh, I knew my stuff. I stuck with it, and I started to eat up that crowd. Started to eat it up. Like I paused, and it's interesting. I almost became an actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I'm not gonna let them know that this is I've never done this really.
You just gotta ride with it.
So I just was like, I would take my pauses, and I was like, in my mind, I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And as soon as I was done, I got this huge laugh, and I walked in that green room, and I could not stop grinning.
Yeah.
It was just like the best feeling in the world, and that for me was it. That's like, I got to do it again. I got to do it again.
Dope. That's I've always wanted. I've never performed there at that
stage. It was cool,
man. I know, man. Dude, that's huge, man. Like,
scary. It was really scary.
I can imagine. First time, woo.
Yeah, I mean, I feel a little lucky because of this podcast, I've had Kevin Nealon, who he turned out that he was a fan of my work. of course, I've been a fan of Kevin Nealon's for a long time.
Yeah.
And I had him on my podcast a while ago. And then since then, him and I become buddies. We text each other all the time. We talk comedy. He came to my house for a little bit, and we did art, and we talked comedy, went out to dinner. And I'm like, I can't believe Kevin Nealon's one of my friends. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really cool guy.
Yeah.
And who better to like bounce stuff off of? So like he knew what was happening, and he thought it was crazy. He's like, I can't believe that Steve's doing this. And so, but basically, Kevin, I bounced off my material to him, and he gave me really honest feedback. And like, really, the only thing he told me was, I really like your point of view, and you have really good setups and punches. And then he goes, just, maybe switch these two words around in this one spot. Yeah. And it was switch the words guilt and come around backwards. And I did that, and it killed. It was like, it's like he just knew, like, it's funny, but it'll be funnier if you switch these two. And then he told me, and just wait for the laughs. Just wait for them. And so that was really awesome advice, because I just did that. I was like, I'm going to listen to what he said, and I just did that. And so I felt really confident.
Yeah. That's a good lesson. That's a good, I tell people that all the time. The word thing is huge to me, because you can almost adapt any of your jokes to any room if you just change literally one word out of a set. Can make a huge difference in the whole room. So, man, that's a good lesson for comedy right there.
Oh man, I was so it was funny, because just a week before, 2 weeks before is when Kevin told me that, and I was on my way to Memphis for this art thing I was doing. Yeah. But it was a huge convention, and they were going to have an open or like an icebreaker thing that night, like a talent night.
Yeah.
So they're going to have, you could sign up to do whatever you wanted. And there's like 300 or more people. And I'm like, well, I'll do my set,
Oh, boy.
To a room full of people. Like, I don't know if they're ready for comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about masturbation and all kinds of stuff. And so I just jumped right into it. And but it was the same day that Kevin like talked to me that day, and so I felt so like good about it, and I did well.
Yeah.
And people were shocked because they didn't know I did comedy. I'm like, well, I'm kind of just starting. And then one thing that happened was I didn't really bomb, but the week before the show, I went to Harrigan's and to do open mic, and there wasn't that many people there, maybe 15. Yeah. And I did my set that I'm all ready for this set, and I feel pretty good about it, because Memphis I did really well.
Yeah.
And it was crickets.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I got maybe one laugh or so, and I'm like thinking, so now the next week I'm just that made me so nervous, like, because that was the last taste I had in my mouth was that. Yeah. And now I'm supposed to go up in front of a real crowd, and so yeah, it was a crazy experience. But I think as artists, that like, it doesn't matter if you're a musician, an actor, a comedian, a painter, a sculptor, I think that we thrive through struggle, right? Yeah. Don't you think so? Like if you don't have that struggle, you're like, what's the point? I think you need that for a challenge.
Definitely need that. I'm telling you, I can go on and on about any struggle that I've had and the motivation, that you get from it. You know what I mean? That if you don't get inspired by your own struggles, then it's just not a passion to you. You don't care enough. So I agree. If you have to have some kind of, hardship to kind of get you grounded, keep you grounded, and give you something to strive for. So my motivation has always been, a personal type of thing. Always take things personal, where, all right, Dario, you can do this, and I'm everybody says they're the hardest on themselves, but man, when I know I can do something and I see other people, I'm like, all right, that person can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? I don't care what level they're at. If a human has done something, I can do it. So if I want to do it, I can do it. So you got to have a motivation.
When you first started, do you have like any epic bomb nights, like where you just like, did you ever have that experience where you're like, maybe this isn't right?
So I quit stand up probably 3 or 4 mics into my stand-up career. And it was probably a month and a half in. And I was at, what was it? The Revival. I was at the Revival. Now, I had been doing the mics, and I've been taught to do 5 minutes. So, I had a good 5 minutes. Not a great 5 minutes, but I had a good 5 minutes that give me enough laughs as a new comedian to make me feel good to keep going.
Yeah.
So I signed up for the mic at the Revival. I'm there. I'm the 3rd person on the list. Packed house. Never been there before. Had no clue. Packed right over there on Humboldt Park. This place is to the walls packed. And I'm confident as all heck because I feel like I'm the hottest thing smoking right now. I'm going to go in there and do it. And the host comes up and says, you got 3 minutes. And I was like, I have only trained for 5. I don't know how the hell I'm going to cut these jokes. I don't know the rhythm. And here's what made it worse, is when I get up there, it was like people were cheering me on just off of looks because they thought, okay, this guy looks like he's going to be funny. And I remember this one lady goes, go, Dario. And I say to her, I was like, man, I already got a fan here. And the crowd is like, yeah, And then I get up there and I'm about 2 minutes in and that light flashed. And I was like, I'm not even nowhere near an ending point. And so I just rushed through all my stuff like as fast as I could when really all I had to do was just stop. Stop where I was at. I probably could have managed myself. After that, I felt that bomb. I sat there and I watched everybody else and I was like, these people are legendary. They're so good. I'm horrible. I'm trash. And after that, I didn't touch a mic for another 5 to 6 months. So that was how bad that bomb was to me. I just quit.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore. I'll never forget that time.
See, that's the stuff that I like to hear because that's encouraging. It's like, I mean, and like what we're going through now, like you've been doing the Zoom things, but it's still, to me, it just doesn't feel the same as being in a crowd because it's you never know how it's going to be. And it's like so many comics, all comics, even like Joe Rogan. I mean, everybody, all the big comics, like this is the longest time they've not done comedy.
Yeah.
In fact, I was talking with Kevin Nealon about this, and he was saying how, because I was telling him like he's doing a lot of artwork, and he'll send me his artwork, and I'll look at it and stuff, and we'll talk about it. And then he'll say, are you still working on stuff? And I go, oh yeah, I've been writing material. And he goes, it's more than I've been doing. He's like, I'm nervous to go out again. He's like, I don't feel ready at all. And like, I this is going to be strange. And I have to start working on my comedy. And I'm thinking, wow, this is like affecting everybody like in such a crazy way. And I'm like worried about, I'm barely in, like nobody even cares if I do comedy again or whatever. But it's like these guys that are like established and been doing it for years, they're freaked out a bit. They're kind of like, I haven't 90 something days since I've done comedy. Like, so this is such a strange time. This is like going to be our, like, this is going to be our annoying narrative to our grandchildren. He's talking about COVID again.
Yeah.
There's grandpa talking about that darn COVID. And it's like, and then they made us wear masks and,
I know. Forever. Like the beaches.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. But I think, though, in a way, it's kind of interesting because I've also heard, which is unfortunate, but I've heard there's a lot of comics that are just like, that were just barely hanging on already, and they're kind of like, well, I'm done, So it'll be interesting to see, I think, to see how things go. But at the same time, I think because we're all going through this, we have this unity, Like, and I think that's going to be a common thing that holds everything together. And I
think we come out of this, if we do it right, it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think comedy is going to be, it's all new. It's all different. I don't care what anybody says. It's going to be different from this moment on. Like we're at that point of comedy where it's going to advance to be something different. And what I mean by that is there's still going to be big name comics, but now these lesser known, the yous, the everybody else in the local scenes, around the world, I think now is our time to kind of make ourselves more noticeable without the help of those big names.
Yeah.
And I say that very, very, personally, I have some plans, for next year that will kind of make me international, and in that sense. And
that's awesome.
that wouldn't have happened without these Zoom mics. You know, that wouldn't happen without the virtual shows.
Yeah.
This new era of comedy. Whereas, you know, we've been taught that you got to go through the ring, you got to go through the ringer, you got to go through the big stages, go through the mics and kind of get seen, and then apply to all these festivals, and then hopefully somebody gets you. You go to that way of thinking with comedy is gone. You know what I mean? It's still there. You can still go that route, but now there's going to be so much more independent success stories.
Yeah.
Coming out of this, and I think that's what's going to be a difference for a lot of people. And it's going to be more fair, in my opinion. I like this way a lot better because now you give people opportunity that might not have gotten opportunity. I know I haven't gotten some of the opportunities that I wanted, but now I don't think I really care as much about those opportunities because I can do other things. You know,
you can have more control now, and I think that's the cool thing about, especially like with the internet and everything. You know, depending on how well you can maintain your Instagram, whatever else, you can literally, you know, if you get enough followers, enough support, you can set up a show somewhere, people show up. Yeah. You can do it your own way. I mean, that's totally a possible thing to do. Yeah. I was wondering, like, you know, like in California or in LA, the Comedy Store, how, you know, I'm not sure how much you're into that whole scene, or, you know, I follow a lot of comics that are regulars and stuff there. And what's interesting about them is a lot of these guys go on tour, they sell out arenas, they do Talia Hall and whatever in Chicago. But they always have the Comedy Store. That's like their place. That's like the place where they go and they go there weekly and they work out their stuff. They work out new ideas. And it was interesting. I was talking to Craig Conant, who's a hilarious comedian. And he told me that, you know, just to give a perspective of the reality of that all comics are the same, is, you know, he would go to the Comedy Store and Joe Rogan would show up and do 10 minutes and it was terrible. Yeah. And then he'd come the next night and it wasn't as good. It wasn't bad, but it was getting better, but it wasn't that great. And then he would see Joe Rogan perform the same stuff like night after night after night. After a month, all of a sudden it's the funniest shit he's ever heard. Yeah. And he's killing it. Yeah. And it was like so encouraging to hear that, because it puts a realistic perspective that until you get out there and do it, right, you're not going to know if it works. Right. And it doesn't matter how good you are, how experienced you are. You still have to go out there and do it, you know? Working, yeah. And so what I was wondering, because again, like, I'm so new at this, is there a place in Chicago that you think is kind of like that, where comics go to work on their stuff and it's like almost like a you know, the place, like the home place, you know? Because I haven't really heard of anything like that in Chicago.
I would say probably the biggest thing for us is probably Laugh Factory. When they have their open mics. So there's a bunch, but I would say probably on that scale, kind of more mainstream, it would be Laugh Factory. But I know Cole's, they always have long lists of people and kind of regulars that go there and do their thing there at Cole's. And you know, I'll toot our own horn for a little bit. I know my buddies was kind of compared to Cole's for a little bit. As right before Corona, we were compared to Cole's and that atmosphere and kind of the level of, you know, preparedness and energy that you're kind of talking about. And I think, and there's so many other out there, but I would say probably those few are places where you get the same people, because we have a loyal base of people that come to my buddies night in and night out. And they are really there working on the stuff. It might not be good the first few times, but you catch them on that fifth time, and it's a completely different vibe. It's so good. It's having you crying, laughing, you know. So I think those few, and no disrespect to anybody else. I don't know too many more. But I would say, just knowing what I know on the scene, those would probably be the places where I would say it's comparable to like the Comedy Store. Especially my Laugh Factory, you know, they put on shows all the time, and they such a huge name, and the opportunity there is great for that exposure. So especially them.
Cool. Yeah, I was just curious, just because, like, you know, like I said, I'm only doing it a certain amount of time. I want to make sure I'm not wasting my time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, keep coming to man.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely the place I want to keep checking out. Yeah, and that's another thing that brings me up another question. Is like I found it, I wasn't quite sure what to do when I started going to open mics, because like, do I just keep working on the same 4 or 5 minutes I've got? Or do I try to or come up with a couple new minutes and mix it in next time, or do I keep developing it? Because I felt strange about like, am I just, are people going to be like, oh, dude, he said that last week. He did that same thing last week. You know what I mean? Like, how do you think that works with a group like my buddies? And because you know what, I don't want to go and just bump. Oh, dude, he said that same stupid shit last week. You know what I mean?
No, I would say if you're working on material, you just got to work on your material. Forget what the crowd says, because we have a lot of people that come there and will say the same stuff over and over. Maybe pepper in a couple riffs or something, some older material to kind of differentiate from night to night. Yeah. But I would say, if for me, do what you have to do to get prepared for whatever you're trying to prepare for. We have meetings that come in and say, hey, Dario, can I get a spot on the list, on the open mic list tonight? I got a show on Wednesday or Thursday, and I want to be ready for it. You know, so they're coming there, and it might be something I know I've probably heard them say that a dozen times. But go ahead, get that rust off, get that rhythm in, get the cadence down. That's what it's all about. That's what open mic is about. And kind of going back to what you said earlier, my buddies can be a little bit intimidating in that sense of you get such a high level of energy in that room to where you feel like, oh man, now I got to bring it. You know, when really at the end of the day, it's still an open mic. It's just it's hard to describe what my buddies is, but it's at that level there. So for me, just do what you do. You know, do your set. Whatever you're working on, I don't care if we've heard it a million times, because at the end of the day, I'll help you out with a critique. And I've told people, say the same thing over, try to mix it up, use different words, put things in different orders, say it slower, say it faster, animate it. You know what I mean? So, try things out. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was, I'm like, man, I'm only going out once, twice a week, but I feel like, man, I don't want to keep saying the same stuff over and over again. But then, usually what was happening to me is during the week I come up with something else, and I would like kind of swap things around or change the order. I have a funny new, man, I had like a really funny new open that I couldn't wait to do the next time I went, and I thought this is going to be a killer open. And that's what I want. The way I'm trying to do this is I want, even though it's an open mic, I want to go out there and I want the first thing to just get people to laugh right away. And I feel like if I don't have that, I don't feel like I'm ready to go up there yet, because I want that first right there. And if there's a couple in the middle that don't hit as well, at least that, and then I want to end big. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like an essay.
Yeah, the mentality is completely right there. For me, I like to riff at the beginning of whatever's happened throughout the night. I like to riff, kind of loosen people up, and then jump right into the first joke I know is going to really kind of put them on the back. Because, I'm a skeptic. I think of cynicism and skepticism with some people. When you do that riffing at the top, they're probably like, oh, that's easy to make fun of a joke, that he just created right now for somebody else's mishaps or whatever. But then as soon as you come back with a real joke, you're like, oh, okay. Oh, this guy's really funny. Oh, all right. It's a different ball game. So
yeah,
like playing that cat and mouse type of game, man. So if you even if it's like a little, I don't care what it is. If it's like little something that's going to get people to chuckle a little bit, that breaks the ice enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Because I don't know if you remember, but just the last time I was at my buddy's, I don't think any of us were taking Corona very seriously yet. No. And it was like, it was kind of like one of those things where people were sort of talking about it, and people were starting to freak out a little bit, but it was like, eh. And I did that. I did that. What you just said is I did something that I didn't plan on doing, and I just came out when I got up there in front of everybody, and I got a huge laugh. And I love it because I can hear your laugh all the time. You got that big laugh, and I was like, he liked it.
Yeah.
But I went up there and I coughed a couple times,
yeah.
But I didn't do it in a fake way. I did it realistic. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. It's it's been a rough week. I've been homesick all week, just coughing my brains out, you know. So it's good. It's really good to be out with y'all right now. Yeah. And I just said it all dry like that, and then there was then I stopped, and then all of a sudden that silence, you were like, what? And then everyone starts like laughing, like almost uncomfortably, like what is he doing? Because it was almost like I don't think people could tell I was joking.
Yeah.
You know, and it was really funny because right there I felt comfortable after that. I'm like, okay, now I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like I got a little bit, and then like one of the other nights there was like these, I don't know if you remember, but there's like all these college kids that were in the front.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And when I got and then when I got up there, I decided to like make a joke for them, and I think that's kind of a cool thing though, because it's the one thing I love about the comedy is that when you go to do comedy, when you go to a comedy show, you might be seeing a comedian that you've heard a bunch of times or whatever, but that night is the only night that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
So that night is just, you know, like one of my favorite nights at my buddy's was, I can't remember the comic's name. I follow him on Instagram now, but he used to have like long kind of like dreads or something like that, and he cut them off, and you guys were all busting his balls about it. He had like longer hair, and he got a haircut, and his hair was all short now, and you guys were like making fun of him for it.
Oh God, man, I wish I gotta remember.
Anyways, at the end of the night, he was the last one on the list, and there was only like maybe 8 or 10 of us that stayed by, and he just sat up there kind of like chilled, and like he's the last one, and he just roasted everybody.
Yes, Joe Cesare.
Yeah, and he just like roasted everybody, and it was so funny. It was just that was his whole set was like, you know, I'm just gonna roast everyone that's here, you know. And it was just so good. It was like I was so glad I waited to the end to stay there, you know.
Yeah, we call that the back of the bus part of the night. So because if you're there at 12:30 to 1 o'clock in the morning at my buddy's bed, that is definitely we call that the end. That's the super end line right there. Yeah, it's funny. It turns into a roast battle there.
It was great. Yeah, it was great. Yeah. It was really funny because he was going around roasting everybody, and I at one point I'm like, oh, I wonder what he's gonna say about me, because but then he didn't know who I was, so I saw him at one point, kind of looked at me, and I could see him thinking, and he passed me. Yeah. Like I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, Joe's funny. That's his thing. We made this joke of like that he's the my buddy's headliner, open mic headliner, because he's typically always the one to go last. So
that was good.
Hilarious.
I got to say, my favorite, I've got 2 favorite experiences from my buddies that, you know, that I like reactions, and you're kind of responsible for most of the reaction because you were laughing the loudest. But the first one is, I don't know if you remember my Bill Cosby joke.
Yeah.
But like when I said, was Bill Cosby, and that's all I said.
Yeah.
And you and everyone was like, oh, no. You're like, don't do it. No. Everyone's like saying, no, don't do it. And part of me was thinking, like, what the heck did I just say? I just said Bill Cosby. And everyone went, I'm like, I didn't realize there was so much power in that name. Yeah. He's like Bill Christ. Like, what the heck's going on here? And so I say it, and you guys are all saying, no. And I'm like, I'm going to say it, you know? And then I go and I say my lines, I say it, and I wait. There's like a pause, and then I deliver the punch. And then there was like this silence for like half a second, but it seemed like forever.
Yeah.
And then you guys just all just like started dying laughing and applauding.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh, that was a great feeling, because I'm like, okay, I got them.
Yeah.
You guys didn't know what I was doing. And so I felt like I got you, you know, and it was really cool.
I remember that. Yeah. That whole setup, man, because we were like, uh-oh. And then I just remember you deliver your line, and it wasn't anything that we were thinking. Like we were like, okay, good. Oh, I think that was the relief. I know for me, it was like, all right, good is not what we were thinking, and that shit was hilarious. Like that was good. So
no, that was like one of my favorite moments. And then one of my other favorite moments, I think the following week, I got out there and I said, I'm not going to say the whole bit because I've been working on this and I have some ideas with this joke. But I went up there and I said, you guys ever find yourself just thinking about boobs? And you're like, yeah. And then everyone starts laughing and clapping like, yeah, we think about boobs. And I was like, yeah. You know, I was just thinking, like, what if boobs were a lot more like penises? And then everyone's like, whoa.
No.
Wait. We didn't sign up for that. Like when we said yeah before, that wasn't for penises, okay? Let's get that straight. Like everyone was like, whoa. Where is this train going right now?
Oh, those moments always get me because like that room is like so easily entertained by like the little things, you know, and so you can get us and then take us completely off track. So
yeah, that's the best time though, man. I really miss it, and I can't wait to go back again. And like I said, I'm trying to be a little bit careful because we have a new baby now. We're not like having a lot of visitors and stuff, so we're trying to, you know. But so I'm gonna play it by ear and see how it goes, and I need the wife's permission, of course.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's one of those things where I'm so glad that it's a part of my life now. It's something that I feel, and it's great getting to know other comics, getting to know you, and getting to, you know, like people that, you know, because I've always kind of felt a little weird.
Yeah.
Like a weirdo because of my thoughts or, you know, how I maybe think about things or say things before I did stand up.
Yeah. Yep.
But being able to do it almost is like therapeutic in a way. It's like I get to say these weird things and hopefully people think it's funny.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, I think people respect the fact that you get your thoughts out more than anything, you know, because it's hard. Like you said earlier, it's hard to go up there into the unknown, share part of you and hope people laugh at it, because sometimes those memories that you bring up aren't always good memories, you know, but you know, like you're trying to get a laugh, and when you get that, man, it just feels so good. So I think that's what people respect. I know that's what I respect, because it takes a lot for people to go up there and talk about personal experiences and with the hopes that somebody's laughing at it. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, that's this whole thing, man. Like I respect all that from everybody that just takes the time to do it. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. No, it is, man. It's. But I think again, like for me, drawing and painting, like oil painting, for example, it's a really challenging thing. And like if it wasn't, would I be doing it? I don't think so.
Yeah. No.
Like. You know, like I see you, you know, working out all the time. I was half expected you to be on like a, you know, lifting weights while we're talking or something. I wasn't sure. Eating like every once in a while, I was expecting you to like talk to me and just lift up a big steak or something. And you're like, what were you saying?
Yeah.
But like you know, you've got a drive and a passion, and you know, you got to get it done. Like working out and getting in shape is, I mean, that's like definitely something that I need to focus on. But like, it's like one of those things where you have to set a goal and you have to work for it. If it was easy, you probably wouldn't be doing it. You know,
Nope. I need something to challenge me, man. And when it comes to, honestly, probably the biggest challenge for me is working out now post quarantine. I gained 20 pounds. You know, not good pounds either. Like I gained 20 pounds in the time from that we've been away. So. You know, I've been going to the gym. I only missed one day since the phase 4 opened back up, but it's a challenge, and I think it's cool for me to kind of see how my body transforms again. And in just 10 days, you know, my body is completely transformed again. And you know, before quarantine, I was up to 275, 295 on the bench press, and I think right now I'm up to 245. So very humbling, but there's a challenge you talk about to get back to that where I was. And I think that's what's driving me right now, is to kind of see my body swell up again and get to what I was, and just to have that strength, and just to know, oh, I can lift 295 pounds above my head, you know, like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw that. I commented on your Instagram. I saw that picture of your calf, and I thought your leg was having a baby.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah, man. You know what's funny? Like I've always had like bigger calves, but like when I work mine out, now it's like, it looks massive. It looks ridiculous. So
yeah, it was pretty funny.
Leg day.
Yeah, it made me want to have a watermelon or something.
Yeah.
Um, before we skedaddle here, there's a few fan art drawings that I wanted to show you.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, let me know if you see this.
Oh, that's dope. Hey, I'm with it.
This is the one I told you. I think was the artist is from Iran.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is Hossein Resapor.
Man, hey, thank you. Whoever, if he's watching, if you're gonna listen, please, thank you. I want to post this up. Can I post it up? I'll tag him too. So.
Yeah. I'll send you. I'll email you the artwork. And then this one is from my friend from France, Jacques Ramoni.
Oh, that's fire! Let's go. I like it. That looks like me. I like the smile. I like.
Yeah, he got the smile pretty good.
Yeah.
And what's cool is all my submissions this time are from all over the place, everywhere but America. So that's pretty cool.
I'm with it. Let's go. Let's go international.
So
let's go.
So this is actually the last one I have, but this one is from Dominic Zeilinger, and he is from Austria.
Oh my! That's man. Hey, let me see. Give me a post with all of them. I'm tagging everybody.
Awesome, man.
Oh, those are dope.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's one thing I love about doing this whole thing is because every week I have no idea. I always ask people if they want to, draw my guests, and so it's really funny. I mean, there's been times before where I'm like, oh, there's been some drawings where I'm like, I don't know if I should show that one. But whatever. I didn't do it.
I love it, man. That's honor. That's honor, man. Like just have anybody want to. I've never had a caricature drawn on me like that, so that's dope. I'm excited. I want to give them all the credit too, man. Hey, that's dope.
I'll send you just make sure send me a message with your actual email. Well, I think you already did earlier, maybe. I'll send them to you. But yeah, man. I want to thank you so much for taking time to do this, and like I said, I'd love to do it again sometime, but like maybe we'll set up in my buddies or whatever. Yeah. But I would like to do whatever I can to help support comedy in Chicago, and contribute what I can. Even if I can't go out every single week, I still want to be a part of it because it's just so much fun and I love it so much. But yeah, man. Oh, and I listened to the new album that just dropped. I gotta say though, it was good, and I think the last guy was TJ Stokes, right? Is that right? That guy killed it.
Oh, he did.
Like so good. That was so funny.
Yeah.
So it's a new album. It's on iTunes. You guys can look it up. You can give them the information on it.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, where were you on it? Like, where was your stand up?
So, Laughter is Good for the Soul. That album was album number 2. The first album, which is We Spoke This Into Existence, that's where I'm featured on there. I have 3 tracks on there with my personal comedy. This one, you didn't see me because I made a commitment. And I said I didn't want it to be about me. I want to highlight the artist. And so that's why
cool.
that's why I put all the time and work into it along with Darian, and to make sure that we highlight other comedians and not just be selfish about this and make it about me. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people are like, man.
I was like listening. I'm like, wait, when's it gonna?
Yeah, and I like that. I like that reaction because I want people to see, man, he put out an album and I wasn't on it, so it wasn't so. And then because I don't need the credit of what other people are doing. I want people to know that Chicago comedy is very, very diverse. It's very good, and not just comedy, but Chicago art. So there's music on there. There's spoken word. There's instrumental. There is on the first album we had spoken word. The comedians are great, and there's men, there's women, everybody.
Really good music on it too.
Yes. So I just want people to understand when they look at this album, when they go get the album, it's going to make you feel good, top to bottom, and it's got something for everybody. If you don't want comedy all the way through, and you're like, man, I need a break. Now we got music for you. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really good. Yeah. I was the only thing I was just like waiting for you the whole time. Like, what the heck, man? Yeah. I was like, because I wanted to listen to it before I talked with you, and I got it because I also wanted to support what you're doing and everything. But yeah, man. Again, thank you so much. It's so cool to talk with you, and I can't wait to get out there again and hang out and get back to making people laugh. If anything, with all the bullshit that's been happening in our country right now, like there's still things to laugh about. There's still things to like, and I think it's important. I really do. I think that it's an important thing people need to laugh, you know,
laugh
like
is for the soul.
Like I remember like right after 9/11, like I remember like listening to some comics talking about in New York, talking about it. Like what do we do? Is comedy done?
Right.
You know? And like maybe a few days after, I think it was Bill Burr that was talking about it. And maybe a few days after that, he was saying how they went to the Comedy Cellar and Dave Attell went up there and just shredded 9/11 jokes, people falling from building jokes, like 2 days later.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds a little bit morbid to some people out there, but I think it's important. I think laughter is important. I think just kind of thinking about things in a different perspective so that it's not such a fucked up, dark world. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's exactly what I wanted the album to be, because I believe in it. Outside of that album, I truly believe, you know, laughter is good for everything, man. It just makes you feel a lot better. There's health behind it. You know, health facts behind laughter and what it can do for you. So that's why it was important for me to have that album come out when it came out with that title. That title was picked out over a year ago too. So that title had already been picked out, and we wanted to make sure that the people got it and felt it. And I had a message to the group in a chat, or that everybody that was on the album, and I told them this. I said, because the album was supposed to come out June 4th, and I moved it to Juneteenth. And I said this, and that move was about a month and a half before it was released. And I said to them, I said, this album, when all this is done, when we're done, if I estimate everything right, we'll just be coming out of quarantine, and people will need something, and you all will be the thing that's going to help people come out of it. And I know when you say something that bold, it can kind of be like, that's a lofty dream. But at the same time, you know, the album debuted #1. So, you know, it debuted #1.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it came out right at the precise time, I feel, that everybody needed to kind of take a and relax, you know. So and I think every artist on there kind of felt that same way and said, you know what, that was a good call. You know, I'm happy to be a part of it. So man, laughter is always necessary, man.
Yeah. Man, well, thank you so much, and I think I'm going to end right there. That's a good, positive way to end this. And I just want to say to everyone listening to this, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for the artists that submitted drawings, and thank you, Dario, again for doing this. I can't wait to hang again and get back to the jokes, you know, as they say. But thanks so much, and until next time, we'll catch y'all on the flippity flop.
Thank you, Jason.
You want answers? Find the truth shall set you free. I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.